let's say that I submit a paper for publication and it gets accepted. How can I make sure that people read it?
Yay, I like this question. I think there's a lot that you can do. I think first, before you're looking for readers, you need to celebrate that, let it sit with you, resonate, because it's such a big, huge accomplishment, especially for graduate students. So to search for readers, to encourage new readership, I think one of the most important things you can do is, especially as a graduate student, is kind of curate your online presence and start that now, because when you are on the job market, you know, for grad students, if they're not already, that's going to be something that potential employers might be looking for. So you could, of course, create your own website. There are a lot of easy platforms that are relatively simple to follow. WordPress, right? A lot of these, I'm sure many of you are familiar with, but that's a great place to start. But beyond that, these academic-like pages. So you could have a bpress page, of course, academia.edu, and lots of other sites as well. For example, if your institution has a digital repository, you might be able to make a profile on that. And then your librarians, who if you don't work with yet, connect, right? Especially if you're publishing, connect. They're almost always, in my experience, always wonderful and very helpful. They could help you with these things. So create a digital repository. So any published works of yours are hosted by your institution online. So that's a great idea. And also, you know, if you're active on social media, so beyond those types of academic-like platforms for sharing your work and disseminating your work, I think social media can play a big role. So, you know, obviously Twitter has a large academic following. It's a great place to just tweet articles, connect with like-minded scholars, tweet the article to, for example, professional associations to which you belong and say, you know, I just, you know, at AATSP, at SPR. I'm so excited about this article published in X, Y, and Z. It's about this. Continue to do that for a couple weeks after. Just even a tweet about sharing your enthusiasm and tweeting at the journal you're publishing in. Those things are all really easy to do. The journals also eat that up. They like it. They want that connection with their writers and scholars. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of things you can do on your own to try and engage with readers and look for additional readers for your work, which down the road will help you because you're gonna want, it's not as important in the humanities, but you'll get asked about your readership, especially when you're going up for tenure later on. And those are ways that you can, you know, be cited more. Those things are important, not as important maybe as in the sciences for us humanists, but it's important. So thinking about those things now is great.
Yeah, and the person that is evaluating you for tenure may be a scientist. So you want numbers that look good for you. The only thing that I would add to that is if once you have ResearchGate or academia.edu or digital repository set up, I would recommend you add that to your email signature. So like mine is my name, institution, telephone number, and my academia page. I think that's another way to get your work out, and they could just read really whatever I've published there. Another idea is to go to conferences because I think at conferences you make an impact and a personal connection that you don't make on Twitter. And so if people hear you speak to them for 10 to 15 minutes, they get the point, they get intrigued, then they want to go back and read the full article and ideally cite you. But yes, we are like all writers, we're writing for an audience, and you have to document that you have that audience. So once your paper comes out, Google yourself. It's going to feel gross. It's going to feel weird. But do that periodically to see who's reading you and document that, because later on your superiors are going to want to see that.
That's great. So all of the ideas about how to make sure that you and your work are available online are super useful. I know that SPR, the journal, tries to cultivate that audience for our authors. The bigger journals have that cultivated audience built in. You know, a journal like España that's been around for literal decades and has a huge audience that understands its worth, you're going to have that built in. Other spunky journals like SPR are out there trying to connect with our audience and make sure that people are excited about the work even before it gets published, so they're there to receive it. However, in my experience, the norm is that journals do what journals do. And if I don't get my work to people that I think would be interested in reading it, then it might not get read. And so I love all of your suggestions for making our work more available, especially the suggestion about going to conferences and connecting with people. And I'm going to combine that and with the social media part and say that I use my social media platform on Twitter specifically, mostly to connect with other language teachers. And so one of the things, I have this, huge network of language teachers at all levels. One of the things that happens when I do publish something is I can see that people are talking about an issue that I have written about, and I can, in a way that feels weird, but with my best foot forward, I can say something like, this is actually something I've written about before. Here's a link to it if you want to read it, but my thoughts are this, this, and this. And so social media and conferences have allowed me to connect with people who aren't even like my primary audience for my work and have that really cool immediate exchange of ideas. So I think these are great, great ideas for grad students. I'm going to say one more thing also for those who are really thinking about tenure, which I know both of you are in the tenure world, and some grad students might be working to that end as well. For non-tenure track folks like myself, the index of a journal isn't very important. The ranking of a journal isn't important. The readership of my articles isn't very important. But being able to demonstrate that I'm doing public scholarship that is making an impact on people who are actually teachers is very highly important. But the catch-22 is the more you engage with people in these small ways that don't necessarily count towards tenure, the more they start reading and citing your work, which has that sort of indirect effect of your work, the journals you're able to publish in are higher ranked. The readership for your articles is higher. So you're getting, higher Google Scholar statistics. So all of these little things that you do to connect with people and to connect with work are going to help you, even if you are on the tenure track and super focused on rankings and readership.
I think too, yeah, those are all super great. And I think it's like this shameless self-promotion, but you have to do it. It's a little awkward. You're right, Stacey, but you have to kind of get over it, throw yourself in there and realize that it's, when you're publishing something, you should really be proud of it, right? And want to share it and engage, surrounding that piece of scholarship. My other final thought I forgot to mention was, don't forget about your graduate school program and cohort and like DGS. I think a lot of people do, but they want to celebrate you. If you're a grad student publishing, they definitely want to know about it. They'll probably put it, possibly on their own webpage. That might be another way to increase readership, and also just make sure those around you in your intimate graduate school circle know what you're up to and what you're publishing and putting out there.